there's something you touched on earlier on was about needing to be in control. I think that's a really valid one too. Yeah. So, needing to be in control, if you're needing to be in control, that's a form of perfectionism. So, the perfectionism has to be that you're in control of it. If you're not in control of how perfect it's going to be, it falls away as well.
Well, kind of that's sort of falls into the Mr. Right, doesn't it? Because it's like I know the perfect way to do it, and anybody else's way is wrong. And I'm not okay if anybody else tries to change the way that we're doing this as well. So, and certainly does play into procrastination. I mean, all these workshops, they kind of touch on each other. They all feed into each other. That's why it's important to get it from every different angle and all the different aspects, because they all kind of have something playing out with each other, some sort of relation with each other. So, but yeah, the control is a big one, and a lot of us need control. It's such a funny thing, because what do we really have control over? Nothing.
Yeah, no.
Nothing. Even our choices, like the choices we make. There was an experiment that was done where they had images flashing up to people, and they had to press a light when they saw a particular image. And then they were measuring the heart rate of the people and what was going on in the brain or the heart frequencies. Yeah. And what they found out, the result of the study, was that the heart was actually reacting before the eyes were even seeing anything. So there was a spike in the heart and the brain waves before the person saw anything and pressed the button. So that kind of says our conscious choice has already been made for us before that. So, the fact that we think we've got control over things really is quite funny. Especially, and that's especially when we're following our heart as well. When we can really tune into our heart and start following our heart's desire. That's what synchronicity, I guess, would start, but that's where that starts to happen more often, because things are happening for us rather than us making it happen.
Yeah. And really, at the end of the day, perfectionism, control, all of that is all that we're trying to do is actually bring everything into what we believe needs to be the answers. And, synchronicity and flow is all about not having that, allowing things to open up before you. So it's when you start thinking about how this perfectionism and control and the things we're talking about, it all is about you controlling your environment to be what you believe it to be. And really, it's so limiting. It's just it limits the success of it. And when you actually let go of it and not need to have it perfect and not need to know where it's going to go, there's just a whole new world that opens up, because you're allowing the synchronicity, you're allowing inspiration to flow.
You need that side of things. You need the stuff ups. You really do. There's all about stories and quotes tonight, because I got a couple of things to read out. But I remember they were listening to another experiment, and this guy was using these. What did he do? He walked past a blacksmith and heard all these different. They have different ambers, or is it ambles? What's the
anvil?
Anvil. Yeah. They have different size anvils, and the different sounds that these different size anvils were making just rang this beautiful song for this guy. And he was like, wow, I really want to recreate that sound. And so he started doing all of these sounds, and he found that there was 5 or 7 different sounds, but one of them was like just sounded terrible. So he got rid of it. He didn't want it. He just wanted all the ones that sounded really nice. And then he couldn't get that. He couldn't replicate this beautiful symphony that he heard when he walked past just some blacksmith, because he'd gotten rid of the part that actually sounded crap. So when he reintroduced that back into it, it sort of balanced things out, and he brought this sound that really wasn't a good sound by itself, but with the rest of them, it created such a beautiful chemistry between it all that it just sounded magical. So he that there is just such a beautiful metaphor for doing it, because it's in the stuff up is when we learn how to make things better. It's when we can reflect upon it. You know, if we enjoy the process, if you get curious about it and say, well, what kind of happened there? What can I take responsibility for? How can I respond to this next time? Or how would I like things to happen next time? These are the questions we always encourage you guys to ask. When we start doing that, you know, we're able to create better solutions for ourselves.